Hello and welcome to STEM Run with me, John. Today we're going to be talking about this Hoka Skyward X. You're in for a treat. Hello and welcome back to STEM Run with me, John. So today I've got a treat for you. We're going to be talking about this Hoka Skyward X that I picked up with my own cash. Wasn't sent to me at all, and it's the first run that I've been in for 2 weeks since the half marathon, where I fractured my elbow. Didn't fracture it during the race, I fractured it 2 days before the race, and I've kind of now today kind of had the first run back. So to see how I was, I wanted to test out this shoe. This is a cushion shoe, so I thought maybe it should be a pleasant ride and not one that's going to hurt the arm too much. So I'm going to do a long run. Back at it. It's been 2 weeks since I've fractured my elbow. The fracture's in a good place, so it's not too bad. The only reason I'm going out is because I did run a half marathon in it, and it was okay. It was only afterwards. So I've got the brace on my elbow, and I'm not going to go too mad. Skyward X. So transpires that these things have a 48.5 or 49 mil in the heel and 42.5, 43 in the forefoot. So these are a high stacked everyday shoes, and to be fair, they do feel like that. So to give you some context, I'm normally about 5'10.5" in these. I'm about 6 foot. So you know, these are my big boy shoes, and yeah, they definitely are max stacked everyday shoes. They do feel pretty good on foot, as it was today. So the sort of expectation for me today is pretty much to get round. I've got my gel pack from Kendall today. So this is the recharged raspberry and mint flavour, which is really good. So I'm going to sort of see how we do. I did the half. At the end of the half, I think I did quite well now, considering my hamstring went. So these 2 weeks off have been quite good for the hamstring as well. So I do feel good, other than the arm. The arm's still sore, but let's see how we do on that. And yeah, really good stuff this actually. So we're going to see how long I can go for, and then report back on these gigantic Hoka Skyward X 2 shoes. And let's see how we do.
You got 2 black eyes from loving too hard, and a black car that matches your blackest soul. I wouldn't change you, oh, wouldn't ever try to make you leave, no. Oh, the neon coaster was your sign, and the Midwest wind and Pisces rising. Wouldn't change you, oh, wouldn't ever try to make you leave, no. Static palms melt your vibe, midnight whisperings.
So just back from the run, and I have to say, very impressed with the Hokas. So I kind of didn't really know what shape I was in, to be honest with you, on the basis that I've done nothing for 2 weeks, and when I say haven't done anything, I literally haven't done a single thing. But yeah, the Hokas were really, really good. Managed to get about 12 miles in. 10 miles of that was at a steady pace, so about 6:29, I think, 6:30 per mile, which I'm quite pleased with actually. And towards the end, I put the foot down for the last mile and managed a 5:57. So for a pair of shoes that are, don't really know how to describe them actually. They're definitely an everyday performance. I think I would describe them as a performance everyday trainer. So what I mean by that is that I just don't think they're a ploddy trainer, even though the stack in them is really quite pronounced. They're really quite high. There's no road feel in the shoes, which is not a bad thing. It's just you don't buy or go out and get these shoes for the road feel, because all you're interested is in comfort really. So the one downside I did find about the shoes was at times they do feel heavy. At times they do feel quite heavy. Not all the time, but there are certain circumstances like today where, you know, it's more so about me not being fit and where I'm not, and there's some bits where I got really tired. I could really feel the weight of the shoe. Not that they're heavy as such, but that stack height, when you're trying to transition your feet over, but you're tired, you can really feel that kind of clunk of foam. But it's very responsive. That plate is really springy. It's probably the first pair of shoes in a long time. I can honestly say that you can feel the spring, and they are a very, very good shoe. I originally likened them to the Invincible runs, but I think they're better than that. Already, I do love the Invincible run 2s, but I think these Skyward X's are probably the best daily high stack trainer you can buy. So Hoka's done a really cracking job with these as well. So well done the Hoka. So very impressed. Good job. So let's talk about this upper first. So on the Hoka Skyward X, this is a flat knit upper, and this is a very thick upper. I do have to say, on foot, I was quite surprised the breathability of it. It's still got quite warm on the toes. Blisters kind of did appear, but I think those are kind of older ones, and it was really, really, really hot day. This is definitely not as thick as something like the upper on an Invincible run number 2. I mean that's just really, really thick. So this is a flat knit upper, and I think what they mean by flat knit on this is that it does hug the foot extremely well. There's not a lot of material necessarily. You don't feel like your foot is kind of just floating around the shoe. It's a really nice fit on the upper of the shoe, so it really does hug the foot extremely well. The tongue is not sewn in at all, but there is this sort of elastic band just around this area here, so to really get it around the forefoot, and you can really feel that it's not tight, it's not uncomfortable. It's just a really, really nice fitting upper. The heel counter again is typical Hoka with this Achilles heel flare, and the padding is enough. There's not too much of it. There's just enough. So all in all, I would say it's a plush shoe. It's not overly plush. I think what they've done with this upper is they've actually given it some thought, and I think they've got the best of both worlds. So initially I was liking this shoe to maybe something like the Mizuno Rebellion Pro number 2, just in terms of the actual stack height and the shoe, and it does remind me a little bit of that, and I think that's just purely because of the the stack height in the shoe, but I definitely think the upper on this is better, much improved. This is, for all in all, this is a plush shoe, but not too plush. So this is almost a stripped back, as kind of plush as you can get, but not super plush. So it does walk that line between plush and stripped back. So I actually really like the upper on this shoe. So let's talk about the midsole next. So there's no ways about the shoe. When I first saw the shoe or heard of the shoe, I kind of didn't really know anything about it. I only bought the shoe basically because of how good the Rocket X2 was. I knew they weren't the same shoe, but I just thought that the foam in the shoes improved so much. When I heard that they actually had a carbon plate in the shoe, and the carbon plate in the shoe is convex carbon plate in here, so it's kind of the carbon plate upside down. So the plan is that if you step on it, it has that bounce, and you really can feel that bounce. So the stack in the shoe, and it really is quite a pronounced stack in the shoe, is 48 in the heel and 42 in the forefoot, and it does look like that. So if you have something like the other shoe that I have that I've compared to this is the Wave Rebellion Pro, and with that particular shoe, that is a high stack shoe. I thought that was a high stack shoe, particularly when they got all the kind of the grooves and the cutouts in that shoe. This is just thick stack. I mean, this is a wedge of foam. This is an absolute beast of a shoe. Now, I'm probably about 5'10" and a half. In this shoe, I'm about 6 foot. So this is quite a big shoe. Does it feel like that on foot? It's okay. I think corners are a slight issue, and I did feel my foot start to rock from either side, but actually it's the width of the shoe is actually pretty good as well, so you do land extremely well. Now the foams in this, there are two foams in the shoe. There's a PEBA foam, so something I like the Rocket X2, and it's called something like SC UVA foam, and that's to, I guess, just to kind of make that just a little bit more firm. And I have to, the combinations of the foam are fantastic. I get concerned when a company says they have two foams, so they have their PEBA foam or their race foam in the shoe, and then they have an EVA or something to carry it and put it all together, and the experience is never quite the same as a top shoe. In this, it's completely, I can't explain that. Even though it is an EVA, they've done something to the EVA because it's just a bouncy shoe. It's an absolute joy of a shoe. The midsole feels really soft. It's not too soft. It's responsive. The transition, the rocker feel from Hoka is amplified in the shoe, and not only the foam, but this convex plate as well. So the carbon plate is almost turned upside down, and I don't think I've felt a propulsive shoe as good as this since the Vaporfly one. So the propulsion and the sensation that you get in the shoe is it constantly wants to go, and this is supposedly an everyday shoe for everyday miles, big stack in the shoe, and it feels like a super shoe. This is come out, for me, has come out of left field, and I'm blown away by how good this shoe actually is. So the midsole, the rocker feel combined with both foams, and both foams feel really quite soft. The convex plate in there as well. It's a very propulsive, very supportive, very soft, very responsive ride. So the midsole on this, absolutely fantastic. So today's effort was about 12 miles. So 10 miles I just let the shoe dictate the pace. I wanted a good effort as I hadn't been out there for 2 weeks, and it was kind of not a tempo effort, but it was kind of more of a not an easy effort, but it was kind of a easy to medium, just letting the shoe, basically allowing that to do its thing, and just seeing, you know, where I was in 2 weeks, because I've not done anything in 2 weeks. We've had Easter, so I've eaten eggs, and, you know, I've not done a single thing. So I wanted to sort of see where I was, test out the arm. So the arm's fine, and the shoes were absolutely fantastic. You know, I did 10 miles, and, you know, I wasn't trying to go full speed because I just couldn't. You know, it was really, really warm as well. You know, thinking about the arm, the hamstring as well. So just trying not to do anything too mad. And 10 miles, I did a pace of 4:01 per k, which is about 6:30 per mile. So I was really pleased with that. Now, normally after a run similar to that, if I hadn't been out for a little while, normally my legs would be hurting. You get to a particular age and things start to hurt more, and I have to say, not a single pain so far in this shoe. I have nothing but good things to say about the shoe. So, you know, the plan was to keep it down to about 6:30 today, and I managed that effortlessly. You know, the undulating kind of run that I do, you know, there's lots of ups and downs, and, you know, I think it handled extremely well. Doesn't actually feel like a 48 mil heel stack shoe. Now there's 42, and when they say 42 in the forefoot of the shoe, there is 42. You know, it's not a drop. There's a consistent foam here. You know, this is thick foam, and it doesn't feel. It just feels responsive, just totally responsive. Even if you don't want it to be, there's just responsive. So responsive. I cannot express this enough, and you probably hear me say this a lot, is that I cannot express to you how responsive and how propulsive this shoe actually is. Now, the Rocket X is a very propulsive shoe. The stack height is lower on that shoe, but the foam on that is so good. This foam is not too far away from that. I don't think it's the same P-bar foam. It's not too far away, but for such a high stack shoe, I just find it absolutely ridiculous. It just looks like a big chunky shoe, but it is absolutely crazy. It is just ridiculous. So I'm under the impression that this is an everyday shoe. So this is a max cushioned max shoe for everyday use. A marathon, I'd happily put this on. You know, I think this is an absolute fantastic shoe. I would happily do marathon in this shoe. I think you'd have no issues. I just think that foam in that plate is so good. It would just keep you pushing through. You know, today, you know, to bear in mind, I've done literally not a lot of miles even before the kind of half marathon, and after, I've literally done nothing. And when I say I've done nothing for 2 weeks, I've done nothing for 2 weeks. And put this on today, and it is just effortless, you know, absolute, just fantastic. And I just been blown away by how good this shoe is. This Skyward X is just, I knew about it, but I just purposefully didn't really read too much into the shoe. I just thought it was going to be kind of like the next super race shoe. This is a sort of everyday shoe, and, you know, a max stacked cushion shoe. I don't think there's a better one out there. I think this is the best. Now, when it comes to price, this is quite an interesting point as well. So these are £184.85. Now, that is expensive, but in the context of all these other shoes, I actually think they priced this really, really well. I managed to pick this up for £157. That's because I had 15% off, and I managed to pick this up for that price. And for £157, I think this shoe's going to last. I think this shoe can do absolutely everything. This is the first shoe in a long time where I really believe it can do everything. If I was to score this shoe, I'd score this shoe a 10. I think this shoe is that good. I definitely think it's a 10. You know, for me personally, even the boundedness kind of slightly tweaks the knee a little bit for what I was able to do in this shoe today. I definitely put it up there with the Alpha Fly. You know, I think that it's responsive. I think that it does everything right. You know, the upper is on that good side of plush, but yet it breathes. The midsole is just unbelievable. It really is. It's the mixture that they've got in here is fantastic. It's such a good shoe. So for me, it's a 10, and you know, I love this shoe. I have no words. You know, the shoe speaks for itself, and yeah, it's just an absolute joy. It's a joy of a shoe, and for £185, I think that you're onto a winner. I know it's on the expensive side, but it can do so much, and I do think it will last. I do think the value is there. As I say, I got it for £157. I'm ecstatic about that because I do think this will absolutely last, and so much so I'm probably going to get another pair because I just think that these are so good that I want another pair. Just fantastic. So Hoka again, you know, the last two shoes, you know, I bought. I'm not sponsored, but again, you know, these are absolutely fantastic. So cracking job again. Hoka really upped their game, and yeah, this shoe so far is fantastic. So well done, Hoka.
Reach your rides and a downtown store.